Your roadmap to the latest in auto? Welcome to Highway Herald. In 2025, the aviation world is hitting severe turbulence. The US has imposed steep new tariffs, sparking global ripple effects. Boeing's in the crosshairs. Ryanair may pull back orders, and China's grounding deliveries. Airbus isn't spared either, passing tariff costs straight to US airlines. It's a high-stakes shakeup in the skies, from shifting alliances to rising costs. Here's how these trade tensions are reshaping aircraft deals, global supply chains, and the future of flight. Number 5. Ryanair reconsiders. Boeing's $33 billion headache. Ryanair, Europe's budget airline giant, has long relied on Boeing 737s to power its low-cost model. But new US tariffs on aircraft exports have put that partnership under pressure. CEO Michael O'Leary recently warned in a letter to US Representative Raja Krishnamurthy that the rising cost of Boeing jets could force Ryanair to rethink its future fleet plans. Currently, Ryanair expects delivery of 29 Boeing 737 MAX 8-200 aircraft by early 2026. On top of that, it holds firm orders for 150 of the larger MAX 10s, with options for 150 more. These aircraft are vital for the airline's expansion, offering both higher capacity and better fuel efficiency. However, if trade policies inflate prices, Ryanair may look elsewhere. Airbus, the obvious alternative, is fully booked through the decade. COMAC's C919 from China shows promise but lacks key certifications and falls short in capacity. Ryanair's dilemma reflects a bigger truth. When global trade tensions rise, even aviation giants must pivot. In this climate, cost control is king, and long-term loyalty may no longer outweigh the bottom line. But Ryanair isn't the only airline navigating choppy policy winds. China's next move escalates the pressure on Boeing even further. Number 4. China closes the hangar doors on Boeing. Across the globe, China isn't just talking back, it's taking action. In retaliation to US tariffs, Beijing has slammed the brakes on Boeing aircraft deliveries to its domestic carriers. And considering that China is one of Boeing's most critical markets, this is more than a slap. It's a gut punch. Several 737 MAX 8s painted and prepped for Chinese airlines like Xiamen have now been rerouted back to Seattle from Boeing's Zhoushan Completion Center. That's not just a detour. It's a disruption that clogs production pipelines and delays delivery schedules. But here's the strategic twist. China's move isn't just tit for tat. It's a power play to boost COMAC, the homegrown aircraft manufacturer. By keeping Boeing out, China is clearing runway space for the C919, a plane built to compete head-on with Boeing's 737. The catch? The C919 still has hurdles to clear: European certification, performance benchmarks, and airline trust. Still, this pivot signals a shift in aviation's global power balance. And as Boeing jets sit idle, the broader industry is forced to reevaluate partnerships, logistics, and the rising clout of the Chinese aerospace agenda. As China flexes its aerospace ambitions, Europe's own jet maker Airbus is plotting its response, with a few tricks up its sleeve. Before we dive deeper, if you enjoy deep dives into the intersection of trade, tech, and transport, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Here at Highway Herald, your support keeps us in the skies and under the hood, bringing you the latest in auto and aviation. Number 3. Airbus takes the scenic route. But at what cost? Airbus, always quick to capitalize on Boeing's turbulence, now finds itself grappling with trade turbulence of its own. With tariffs in place, the European manufacturer has made one thing clear: it won't foot the bill. US airlines are being asked to absorb the added cost. To get creative, Airbus is exploring delivery detours. One such example, a Delta A350-900 didn't fly direct from France. It detoured through Tokyo to skirt direct US import fees. While clever, these logistics aren't cheap or convenient. US carriers like Delta and American Airlines aren't thrilled either. Facing slimmer margins, they're looking at delays or even cutting down on incoming jets. Airbus CEO Guillaume Faury hasn't minced words, calling for an end to tit-for-tat tariffs and warning that prolonged trade wars leave everyone worse off. What this illustrates is simple. Even Airbus, with its tactical savvy and strong order books, isn't immune to the friction of global politics. The skies may look blue, but for now, the flight path is anything but smooth. But these sky-high tensions don't just affect airlines, they're already shaking up entire economies. Let's talk about the broader impact. Number 2. When the skies shake the economy, aviation's ripple effect. Turbulence in the aviation industry is sending shockwaves through the global economy. In Q1 of 2025, the US economy contracted by 0.3%, its first decline in over 2 years. This drop was driven by a surge in imports as businesses and consumers rushed to buy before new tariffs took effect. The resulting trade deficit shaved 4.8 percentage points off GDP, overshadowing steady consumer spending and business investment. Meanwhile, inflation remains elevated, with the personal consumption expenditures index climbing to 3.6%. The Federal Reserve is now walking a tightrope, trying to curb inflation without halting growth. Across the Atlantic, the Eurozone grew by 0.4% for the quarter, 1.2% annualized, as companies rushed to export goods to the US before tariffs kicked in. But analysts warn this lift may be short-lived once the full impact of tariffs sets in. The broader takeaway? Aviation is more than just aircraft. It's a key gear in the global economic machine. When that gear jams, ripple effects hit supply chains, economies, and consumers alike. As global economies adjust to rising costs, the aviation industry must look ahead and reimagine how it flies forward in this new environment. Number 1. New flight paths. How global aviation is reshaping itself. The turbulence in today's aviation sector is forcing a complete strategic rethink. Airlines aren't just reacting, they're recalibrating. Take Ryanair. Exploring non-traditional options like China's COMAC shows how rapidly alliances and loyalties may shift. The C919 may still lack European certification and has questions to answer on performance, but its presence alone is changing the game. Meanwhile, smart operators are capitalizing on geopolitical limbo. Air India, for example, is eyeing undelivered Boeing jets originally destined for Chinese airlines. That's more than fleet expansion. It's a shrewd pivot that bypasses production backlogs and snags in new orders. On the manufacturing side, it's adapt or stall. Airbus aims to deliver around 820 commercial aircraft in 2025, though that number excludes any fallout from tariffs. They're also finding ways to work around the new trade barriers, from route diversions to pricing adjustments with partners. This industry has always been defined by precision and planning, but now it needs agility and foresight. From reshuffled delivery chains to renegotiated deals, aviation is rewriting its own flight manual. So where does this leave the industry overall? Let's land this discussion with a broader look at what's ahead. Conclusion: navigating the skies ahead. The global aviation industry is at a turning point. Ryanair may pivot from Boeing, China has halted US jet deliveries, and Airbus is shifting tariff costs to American carriers. This isn't just turbulence, it's a major reshuffling of alliances and supply chains. These developments ripple far beyond aviation, impacting economies and travelers worldwide. Airlines must now act strategically, while manufacturers juggle trade tensions and customer demands. So, what's next for aviation? Will Boeing continue to lose ground to Airbus? Or even COMAC? Is COMAC ready to go global and shake up the duopoly? And how should airlines and travelers prepare for a pricier, more fractured future? If you found this video insightful, be sure to subscribe to Highway Herald for the latest vehicle updates and in-depth analyses. Your support helps us bring you the best in automotive content. Please leave a comment below to start a conversation. Thanks for watching and see you next time. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.